You wake before dawn, breath catching as the hush of the half-light brushes cold against your skin. You carry within you a host of unseen edges, the gaping fracture of a heart once betrayed, the thin red line where shame once cleaved your confidence, the tremor of longing for things you never dared to have. You have held each of these edges as raw as blades, sharpening your fear that any touch could bleed you dry. Yet these scars are not wounds to hide. They are threads waiting to be woven into the living tapestry of your becoming. Today you will embrace each tear in your soul, gather every frayed strand, and learn to weave them together into a garment of truth that drapes you in the radiance of your own resilience. You rise from your sheets, still cool from the night, and stand at the window. A pale sliver of moon rests in the east, framing the bare limbs of a sycamore tree. You watch as the wind ripples through its branches, and you feel the same tremor in your chest, an echo of unrest that springs from every unexamined regret and every unspoken dream. You close your eyes and let the memory of one scar surface. The afternoon you watched a friend disappear into the low, colliding clouds of substance and never return. You feel the hollow ache again, the searing guilt that you did not speak sooner, the shame that you did not care enough. You inhale and exhale, letting the grief roll through your chest like gathering thunder. You murmur to the wind, "I honor your loss." In naming the pain, you give it shape, releasing its knife edge from your ribs and allowing it to exist in the open air. You dress quickly in layers, soft cashmere against your skin, sturdy denim that fits like a second armor, and a well-worn leather jacket you can zip to your throat. You step outside into the dawn, the world still cloaked in velvet dark. Each footfall on the gravel path feels deliberate, a conscious echo of choice. You choose to face the layered weight of your past instead of letting it linger dark beneath your steps. You walk until you reach the creek at the edge of the woods, a shallow current whispering through stones glinting like fractured mirrors. You pause where a narrow footbridge crosses the water, leaning on the railing with both elbows. You look down and see your reflection in the rippling surface, your face pale and unfocused, framed by strands of damp hair that cling to your forehead. But beneath your eyes, two pools of unspent grief, you also see the promise of something unbroken. The steady set of your jaw, the openness of your throat, the way you hold your hands, fingertips curled against uncertainty yet willing to reach for what comes next. You reach into your pocket and pull out your journal, a battered leather volume whose oppressively blank pages still smell of pine and ink. You sit on the nearest plank of the bridge and open to a fresh spread. You place a hand on the paper and draw a single line, "I carry these scars." You feel the weight of each syllable as you write, as though each letter is a finger tracing a wound. You draw another, because they remind me that I lived through fire. You let your pen tremble as you fill the page with the details of your scars. The moment you stood alone on a hospital hallway, waiting for news you dreaded. The cut of betrayal that left you exposed and raw. The shame of the secret you guarded as though it were a sin instead of a truth you needed to speak. You fill that first page, one line after another, until the memory of each wound surrenders its sting to the ink. You close the journal and place it beside you. You stand, but your knees tremble with the effort of bearing your scars in the open air. You set a foot on the wooden bridge and press your hands to the railing, bending forward so that your face nearly touches the water. In that reflection, you see not only your scars but the slender arc of sky above them. You whisper, "Teach me to weave you into something whole." You allow your eyes to meet your reflection's gaze, feeling the line of your scarred cheek soften in recognition. You step off the bridge and follow the creek's bank deeper into the woods, where shafts of early sunlight pierce the canopy in golden spears. The forest floor is littered with broken twigs and faded leaves, remnants of seasons past, each fragment echoing a part of your story you once let lie scattered. You walk until you find a fallen sycamore limb that has surrendered to time, its bark worn smooth as driftwood, its branches splayed like open arms. You kneel by the limb and draw your journal back into your lap. You trace the grain of the wood with your fingers and let its lines map the edges of your own brokenness. For each major scar you listed earlier, you write a word along the limb's length: betrayal, loss, shame, fear, loneliness, longing. You feel the tremor as you touch each word, as though you are aligning your scariest memories with the grain of the wood, merging your story with something ancient and enduring. You look at the limb and realize it has become your loom, its branches your threads. You untie a thin strip of fabric from your belt, an old scarf originally meant for winter, now repurposed as your first thread. You tie one end to the limb's central trunk where betrayal is inscribed, and you weave it through the branch that maps to loss. You feel a tug in your heart as the fabric crosses that path, bridging betrayal and loss in a single strand. You keep weaving, fabric looping around each word, knotting pieces of twine between sections to hold them secure. As you weave shame into fear, you sense that shame is the fuel that fed your fear, and by linking them you allow both to exist without cowering them apart. When you loop loneliness and longing together, you sense that your craving for belonging emerges precisely from the emptiness of loneliness, and weaving them acknowledges the tension that birthed desire. You tie the final knot at the limb's highest point, above the word longing. You step back and look at the limb. It is heavy with threads, a living tapestry of your scars and their connections. You realize that in weaving them together, you have created a form that is greater than any individual scar, the differences and similarities dancing across the limb like a fractal of your soul. You feel your chest settle as though a weight has shifted, not lifted, but distributed so that no single fracture aches alone. You rise with effort and hug the limb's base, letting its rough texture press into your ribs. You murmur, "Your interwoven truth is my strength." You let your tears fall with no shame, each drop a bead that would have once been swallowed, now sliding freely against your lashes. You taste the cold tang of morning dew on your lips and feel the rough bark bruise your palm in a way that anchors you to the moment. You carry the woven limb back to the bridge, leaning its length against the railing so its woven tapestry can catch the light. You sit beside it and open your journal once more. You write beneath your drawing of the limb, "I am no longer ashamed of my scars, for they are the threads of my becoming." You let your pen hover over the last line, feeling the fullness of the truth settle in your chest. You close your journal and stand. You look at the forest path and sense the day's work ahead. A meeting you have resisted, a conversation you have deferred, a choice you have postponed out of fear. But within you now resides the woven limb, a testament to your resilience, a map of your lived experience, a tapestry that honors every tear and every triumph. You know that as you step into each challenge, you carry not only your wounds but the unity they forge. You walk back across the bridge, each footstep a drumbeat of intention. When you reach the bank, you see a child standing at the water's edge, eyes wide as they dip a stick into the current. You recognize a flicker of your own younger self in their gaze, the innocence you once lost when betrayal shattered your trust. You step forward and speak softly, "What do you seek, child?" The child looks up, startled for a moment, then shrugs and shrinks back slightly. You kneel, extending a hand. "It's all right. I used to wander these woods too. I lost something precious here." The child's gaze shifts to your face, to the woven limb leaning against the bridge. Their eyes follow the threads as though they see the tendrils connecting you to a story you cannot yet tell them. You feel an impulse to say more, to share the map you have made, to give them a compass for the wounds they cannot yet name. But you simply smile and help the child to stand. You pat their shoulder, sending a pulse of warmth you hope they feel deep in their chest. You say, "Keep exploring. You'll find what you're looking for." and you rise to your feet, leaving the child with the weight of a promise rather than an explanation. You follow the path out of the woods, into a clearing where the dawn's full light pours across a field of tall grasses. The golden blades sway like a crowd rising and falling in a hushed chant. You feel their soft ripple press against your legs as you walk through, each blade brushing against you like a whispered confirmation. The field stretches wide, meeting a distant horizon where morning's blush kisses the sky. You pause at the edge of the grass and turn to look back. The forest recedes into shadows, the bridge lines the creek like a thin thread of flame, and the woven limb rests against the railing, scars memorialized as a living testament to your journey. You breathe in the field's damp fragrance, earth and life renewed, and you feel a stirring in your belly, a hunger to bring your woven limb into the world, to hang it where eyes can see its truth, to let others find guidance in your charted scars. You know that the field beyond this horizon is the expanse of your daily life, work, relationships, moments of decision and uncertainty. Yet the tapestry of your scars will guide your steps, each woven thread a compass pointing toward integrity, empathy, trust, and courage. You dress anew for the day's tasks, your clothes bearing the dust of the forest but your spirit unburdened by the weight of secrets. You tuck your journal into your bag and retrieve a length of twine tied to your belt, the spare thread you saved earlier, now knotted in a loop over your hip. You feel its presence as a reminder that your tapestry is a living work. Threads will fray, knots will loosen, new tiers will require fresh weaving. You walk into town, each step measured, each breath anchored by the memory of the woven limb's weight against the bridge. When you arrive at a coffee shop where a colleague awaits, you step inside and greet them with warmth. They look at you and ask, "How are you?" You inhale, and instead of blurting "fine," you allow the pause to carry the gravity of truth. You feel the scar of your earlier betrayal, the loss that never truly left, but you also feel the gathering of your interwoven strengths. You say simply, "I'm learning to carry my scars with me." Your colleague nods, eyes reflecting a mixture of surprise and respect. When they offer you coffee, you accept the warmth of the cup as though it were a chalice, another vessel in which you will hold both your vulnerability and your resilience. You move through the morning's errands, calling a friend you hurt, apologizing with an honesty you once thought too dangerous, speaking your own need for space when pressure closed you down, letting silence hold the places where words still tremble. With each interaction, you feel the gentle pulse of your tapestry guiding your tone, your intent, your willingness to be imperfect yet wholehearted. As the sun arcs toward noon, you find a familiar library bench beside a bustling street. You sit, opening your journal and pulling out your drawing of the woven limb. You sketch another branch off its side, this one labeled compassion. You feel that compassion is the first thread you want to weave into every scar story, to hold your own pain with tender kindness, to extend that kindness to others when their scars echo your own. You look up and see strangers hurrying past, each carrying their own invisible tapestry of scars. You release a breath and whisper, "May compassion guide us all." You close the journal and lean back on the bench, feeling the gentle hum of life all around you. The laughter of children, the murmur of conversations, the militant whir of a passing bike. You realize that this world, with all its chaos and beauty, needs your tapestry as much as you needed the woven limb in the forest. You know your scars need not be hidden in shadow. They can be the light that refracts into empathy, creativity, and courage. As late afternoon pulls the sky's color to an amber hush, you rise from the bench and walk home along an old cobblestone road. Each stone lies weathered, edges rounded by the footsteps of countless souls. You place your sandals carefully, mindful of the road's uneven surface, and you trace in your mind the journey you have made, from hiding your scars in the deepest shadows to weaving them into a tapestry that can guide you across any terrain. You sense that with each step, you are forging a path for others to follow, to approach their own brokenness not with shame but with the determination to weave something whole. You arrive at your doorway just as the sun dips behind distant rooftops, casting long, soft shadows across your threshold. You linger at the edge, lifting the woven limb, now rested on the bridge, to the light's final gleam. You watch the threads pulse in the dying light, each line of color shimmering like a note in a silent symphony. You hear in your bones the echo of the day's wind, the forest's hush, the creek's murmur, the first pulse of dawn. You understand that your scars, once raw and aching, now sing as part of a grander chord, a chord that resonates with every soul brave enough to weave their own fractures into a source of light. You step inside and place the woven limb in the center of your living room, leaning it against a simple stand crafted from a time-worn chestnut branch. You light a small lantern beside it, its soft glow shining through each thread. You sit on the floor before it, your back against a familiar wall, and you close your eyes. You feel the tremor of your shadows settle into a gentle release, replaced by the soft cadence of gratitude. Tears of release, tears of pride, tears of awe at your own becoming. You murmur to the tapestry, "I honor each thread, each scar, each step." You place a hand over your heart, feeling the warmth spread through your chest and into your shoulders, arms, and innermost thoughts. You rise and walk about your home, noticing how objects take on new meaning. The chipped mug holds the memory of the morning's coffee shared in honesty. The bookshelf now frames your own story among those of poets, philosophers, saints, and rebels. The cracked tile in your bathroom bears witness to the tears you allowed yourself to fall. You see in every corner the potential for weaving, for gathering every shard of your life, joy and sorrow alike, into a living art. You return to the tapestry and sit at its base, hands gently tracing its lines. You sense a stirring within you, a question pulsing at your fingertips. What is next? You close your eyes and allow that question to reverberate through the vast expanse of your being. You sense that the tapestry will continue to grow. Branches of forgiveness, resilience, hope, love will find their way into its pattern. You know that each new scar, each new lesson, will become a thread in the evolving work of your life. You stand and reach for your journal one last time, opening to a fresh page. You write the daily invocation. Tonight, I honor every scar I have woven, and I vow to weave the new edges tomorrow. You close the journal and let its weight rest against your chest. You sense the tranquil power of a tapestry that lives and breathes, a tapestry that you are both weaver and weaved, critic and celebrated guest. You extinguish the lantern, leaving only the tapestry's soft glow to illuminate the room. You kneel once more before it as though in prayer, your head bowed, your hands resting on the threads that take you back to the forest's hush and forward to every sunrise that awaits. You whisper into the stillness, "I am the tapestry of my scars, and I embrace every thread." You stand and turn, walking toward your bed, each step grounded in the promise of a life woven from the depths of your own wounds, each breath a testament to the light shining through the fractures. As you slip beneath the covers, you close your eyes and let the hush of the room carry you into sleep. You feel the tapestry's glow in your mind's eye, ripples of warmth pulsing through each thread, a silent melody of scars transformed. You breathe in, and in the echo of your own breath you hear the soft chorus of every soul who dares to weave their brokenness into beauty. You release the day's final tension and sink into the unbroken hum of living peace.